March Madness is going on, and not all the craze is in basketball. Realtors have some crazy things going on too. Listen to some of our stories.
One time we were out showing this house, and as you know, we've had horrible weather. It's just constantly raining. So we're going towards the backyard, or to the patio door, and my buyer wanted to look out there even though it was raining. Well, we didn't realize that there was a little bitty basset hound dog who was really wanting to get inside, and we didn't see him until the last minute. So she opens it up and he busts himself into the house. He starts running all over the house, just going crazy. He's jumping on the couches, on the beds, you know, doing circles, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, okay, I need to call the listing agent and find out. We can't get this dog to go back outside. He was really mad. And then every time I went to go pick him up, he started barking at me. So I called the listing agent and I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I can't get this dog out. She said, oh, it's no problem, owners will be home in a while. So we pretty much left him, and he was happy. He got on his bed and we left him alone.
I was showing property up on Pax Mountain, and if you don't know Pax Mountain, it's steep. So this is in the summer. This was in 2000. I remember exactly when it was. It was in the summer, and I had the buyer and the seller with me. I was showing land, and I thought I would be smart because I'd shown a lot of land before then. I thought I'd be smart, let them go ahead of me. They could knock down all the spider webs. Well, what I didn't think about was them stepping on the yellow jacket's nest, and then I come along right behind them. I had yellow jackets up my shirt. I had yellow jackets everywhere. I got stung so many times. I was at the bottom of the hill and had to walk all the way back up to the top of the hill where the road was, you know, with yellow jacket bites. So that was one of my crazy showing stories.
Lots of my showings don't necessarily end up the way that I'd like for them to end up, but probably the most interesting showing that I've had in recent years is one where I was showing a house that was over $500,000, and the buyer and I were downstairs. Her husband and 3 kids were upstairs, and we were looking out of a window, and I pulled back the curtain, and out of the corner of my eye I could see a little pointy head, and all I could think was, holy cow, that's a snake and it's gonna bite me. I'm gonna die here in the showing, and these people aren't gonna know what happened. So I'm talking and I'm trying to remain calm so as to keep the person I'm showing calm, and I look over and there's a little lizard eyeballing me. Like the Geico on the Gecko commercial. The gecko on the Geico commercial. So I look over and I was like, oh. So I slowly let the curtain go and I continued to talk to her, and I moved her to the kitchen. When we get in the kitchen, I mentioned to her, you know, there was a lizard on the curtain in there. And she goes, oh my God. She says, I think we're done here. And I said, I think we're done too. So we gathered her family from upstairs, and as we're going out of the door, we walked past the living room curtain, and the lizard is no longer there. He sat there with my hand on the curtain the entire time that we were talking in the living room, went into the kitchen, and then he disappears. Apparently that was his home, and he was not leaving.
Showed a house in Inman, and had an appointment to show the house. Show up, we're walking through the house, looking. I open the master bedroom door, and the owner is asleep. So I turn around and tell everybody, shh, get out. So we all creep back out. I lock the door. Then I call the appointment center and tell them the seller is asleep in the bed. Freaked us out.
I was showing a house, and the wife and I go into the bedroom. She's looking in the closets to see the closet space, and she notices, she says, oh, this is interesting. And we look into the closet, and someone has written, please help me, on the wall, scrabbled in little bad handwriting, and it looked like it was a child's room. So we go outside and we notice there are pieces of police tape left in the backyard. So immediately I'm thinking, oh dear Lord, this is a crime scene and I have to get these people out of here because we don't know what happened and I don't know what the material defects are of the house, if someone has been killed in the house, if someone has been held captive or what. So we left that house swiftly.
Okay, so I had this one crazy showing. We were actually, it wasn't a house, we were actually showing some land. And it was, you know, some close friends of mine. And so we went out there and we're walking. We get probably about 150 yards into the property. It was about 6 acres. We're standing there talking about the terrain and the surroundings and that sort of thing. All of a sudden, and I hope this comes across funny, because after the fact, it was funny, but at the time, it was pretty horrific. I'm standing there and I look down and there's a yellow jacket and then I see a couple more on me. So I look around and we had just walked over an entire nest of yellow jackets. So all of a sudden I get popped and then my friends get popped and then we're running for our lives. Thankfully no one was, you know, too badly injured or allergic, but the funniest part is trying to run away, because it was kind of like a scary movie. You're sitting there trying to run back up this hill and all I could keep doing was falling down, and then I keep getting stung by the bees, and ultimately I ended up getting stung probably about 6 times. So now I can look back at it and laugh, and it's probably one of the funniest things that's ever happened.
And then of course there's my favorite one, where I show a house and then it's dusk dark and it's raining. And so of course, because it's raining, it's darker than it normally is, and the house is down a long dirt road. And we go into the house, which is an older house, kind of creepy. The lights in the kitchen and the ceiling fan are yellow, so that is kind of odd. And I'm there with a young couple, and there are pieces of antique furniture here and there. Other than that, the house is clean. And we go down the hallway, and in the middle of the hall is a rug, which is kind of odd since the house was not completely furnished or decorated or anything, but there's just a rug there. And I know the people pretty well, and so I say, I bet you anything there's a trap door underneath that rug. Sure enough, move the rug and there's a door in the floor. And the people looking at the house are like, oh my God. The guy's like, oh my God, somebody's grandma died in this house, we have to get out now. And it's funny because he's big and he's a big burly guy, but he starts to panic. He has on a light on his head because he likes to look into behind walls and in the bathroom at the plumbing and stuff to inspect it, because that's just the kind of person he is. So the house, you have to go in the front door to lock it, because that's where the lockbox is, and walk around the house in the dark to get to your car. So he lets us out the back door because he's panicking. Oh my God, somebody died in this house. Somebody's grandma's dead in this house. We go out the back door, me and his fiance, and he comes around the front door with the light on his head. But it was just hilarious that he starts to panic when we see the door in the floor, that someone has